Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast, the first one of 2024. Don't worry, there's no sort of New Year's resolutions from me because I'm still going to be as rubbish as I'm always being. But luckily, I know and have persuaded some good guests throughout the time to come on. So people who know what they're talking about will talk about football and I'll just kind of pretend to waffle on. We are in association with Lucky Star Gin. As always, I'm your host, Mike. And with me on today's panel, we have Paul C, Paul D, and Chris. We're going to be covering the draw with Newport County, and we're going to look forward to, some looking forward to more than others, the Plymouth away game. I'm sure that will be explained fully in a moment. Engagement is always important. Thank you very much to everyone who does the likes, shares, retweets, and so on. It is really, really useful to get the podcast in front of other people's eyes, ears, so on. So thank you very much, and please do join the conversation. I hope people have enjoyed the player ratings. We'll talk about them a bit later, but sometimes you guys be brutal. But we'll dive right in. We'll start with Paul because he was the last on. So Paul Chalmers, sorry. Mid-November we had you on.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, not so bad, thank you. Not so bad. Just getting on with run-of-the-mill stuff. Yeah, nothing exciting going on.
And Chris, it was actually, where was it? Fireworks night. It's actually older than that. The fireworks night since we had you on because it was all the explosions going off outside my house. I remember that. How have you been?
Yeah, good.
Excellent.
Yes, very excited about the weekend, but we'll explain more later.
Yes, I did see you excited dance and then realised it was on Facebook. So I thought, I can't steal that. That's on his personal Facebook. I can't go putting that out there. That's not fair. I do have some limits. It's a very blurry line, but I do have a line. And Paul D, it was early December, so it was a month or so since I saw you. So how have you been?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, good. Football-wise, Xmas. 4 games in 9 days. Highlight being the Wimbledon away, of course. Proper day out, that, wasn't it? Proper day out.
That's what Jason said. Yes. Right, so club news. Thankfully, it's been a bit quiet. We haven't had a manager yet. We're signing a £300,000 striker from a division below us, and he's 30 years old and never played at this level. But obviously, we're spending all that money on him.
Yeah,
we're not. We're also selling Harry to at least 3 different clubs. Which I think is probably a really good scam if we could sell Harry to both Bradford, Mansfield and Forest Green. That would actually be an awesome money-making deal. But in seriousness, the supporters club have generously subsidised the coaches for January, so all the prices are lower prices. Details have been tweeted out earlier. I didn't copy and paste them, but do look on the website or chat to the guys in the sports clubs, and they'll be happy to take your money on the machine that I sort of sponsored. Right. So lineup. I was 4 out originally, but I got 11 out of 11. You know. What did you guys think ahead of kickoff? We'll start with you, Chris. You may have seen it before us. I'm not sure. I can't remember if you see it before us or after us.
I think it was just it is often a bit of a melee. I just get the team sheet thrown in front of me and I go, oh, okay, right, fine. So I often don't have time to think. For the benefits of new listeners, I volunteer in the tunnel on match days. So but fortunately, I didn't do that on home games, which means that away games I can relax and actually enjoy the game.
Exactly. Mr. Darby, what did you think of the lineup ahead of kickoff? How were you sort of feeling at that point?
Yeah, it's hard to get your head around it. So when you think about fixture congestion, suspensions, and injuries, and what his actual tactical changes from Jason, it's hard to see what is what. But I don't. But there wasn't any too many surprises. I didn't think. I mean, Angle up front. We thought Angle would be the replacement up front, didn't we? Patrick on the left, Gabe get another run out, and Hart on the left instead of Milsom. It didn't feel too many surprises in that team, but still wondering how it might gel at the start.
Well, I left you for last because there was one slight surprise, one slight tweak, and I know you had your thoughts on this, Paul. We lined up a slightly different formation, and Josh seemed to be starting in the middle.
Yeah.
What was it you said to me about Josh starting in the middle?
Oh,
you can't
mate.
remember, can you?
No, of course not.
he spends most of the game there when he's supposed to be playing on the wing, I think it was.
Yeah, I can believe I'd say that. I thought he played. I thought he did all right, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I thought he did really well. And I do like that formation. I know you can't always do it, but I probably would have preferred Aiden, because he probably would have held the ball up and laid it off to one of the three wingers that we were playing. But I do like that, where they could switch around a bit more and cause a bit of confusion. But first half, I think Paul D touched on it, Chris. It was a bit sort of, is this going to gel? Is this going to happen?
Yeah.
We were making chances, but it wasn't quite happening for us. How did you see the first half?
Well, I felt we were edging it on points if it was a boxing match. But I mean, neither side seemed fantastic. It was. It's interesting. The three of you enjoying Josh's contribution. I didn't. I was really quite nervous whenever anyone did the ball. I would definitely have gone for O'Brien, but hey ho.
I mean, that was possibly, as Paul said earlier, more of a rotation. Giving the game, because he did play well at Wimbledon. I know there's a lot of us who aren't particularly enamoured of him, but against Wimbledon he played really well. So, I mean, how were you kind of feeling in the first half, Chalmers? Were you confident it was coming, or were you kind of like, oh, this is another one of those games?
We were at the races, certainly. It was tight, wasn't it? There was a couple of chances for both sides. It was so cold and horrible as well, though, wasn't it? It was like we really could have done with a 4-all or something to help keep the cockles warm. But it was tight, wasn't it? And it was edgy. We still looked a little bit shaky at the back at times, and I think that's something, one of our USPs this season, isn't it? So, but we've definitely shored it up, and I don't really think we looked like conceding. First half, I thought, it was tight, and we were in it, so I was quite happy.
Mentioned the defensive, and Sam, how were you feeling kind of when Mr. Glass went down again? Paul Darby, he went down off injured again, just after he's had another great run in the side. He's doing well.
Yeah. Really disappointing for him, and disappointing for us, generally. I mean, I think he was looking good, actually. He was spraying it around well, getting stuck in and doing his job. And as everyone said, there wasn't too many chances for the other side. And they weren't coming out that right-hand side either. So, Yeah, no, it's a real shame he hasn't had a decent run of it, and doesn't seem to be ever been fully fit. So, or just very unlucky. But I guess if there's one area where we do have a decent backup and decent depth, it's with Rob coming in. So that was one. If someone's going to go down, let it be the left back. Not wishing ill on him, of course, but yeah. I mean, it was generally I thought it was a grim first half, but we did have the two of the better chances, didn't we? So and we weren't 4-0 down after 23 minutes. So
Exactly.
that was success.
These are the bars that we have to aim towards. As Paul said, it was bloody horrible cold. I mean, my little end of match video, I was like, well, I'm not going into the bar and coming back out. I'll do this now here, because once I'm inside, that's it. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I must say, I was testing my thermals, Mike, because in 2 weeks' time, I am going to be off to a bit of the States that is currently -16. So I was giving the thermals a bit of a test.
Well, I did say to Josh, my nephew, I was like, I'm freezing. I did not expect it to be this cold.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped and went, it's the 1st of January. Why didn't I expect it to be this cold? What is wrong with me? I know it's cold in January, but it has been quite mild. So it did take me by surprise. But at half time, obviously, we've had months and months and months of everyone moaning that we need to have a different plan from 4-4-2. We need to play differently from 4-4-2. And as we've all agreed, the first half was a bit dull when we weren't playing 4-4-2. And at half time, we switched it up and changed it to 4-4-2, and we played much, much better. So, Chalmers, what did you kind of think of the sort of the second half? I know we went behind, but we'll talk about that in a sec. But how did you feel about the second half in general?
It was definitely improved. We looked really good going forward, I thought. I like that, talking about Coley as we were, I like the fact that he was running at people. I don't know if he's been asked to, and he's started doing it, but he seems to have a bit of pace, and he can be quite dangerous running at people. So he has that in his game, which hopefully we'll see a bit more of. And yeah, he was at fault for something we'll obviously speak about a little bit later, but that's just one of those things. But no, as I said, he had a better game, and yeah, we were certainly creating chances and looking like the side that was going to score first.
Thank you very much, Paul. Sorry. What were you, again, we'll talk about 2 goals in a sec, but what did you think sort of the second half?
Yeah, it was a much more spirited performance, wasn't it? And it did feel as though the shackles were off a little bit. We looked like we were really really going for it, and we had plenty of chances. As Coley's been mentioned, I thought he had a good game. Pereira looked really lively. When Harry B came on, I think he gave us the quality in the latter half of the second half. And I say, and Rob, even at 37, still, looks good, looks secure, and does give us that dead ball option, I think. And we look better at corners, better at free kicks, and better from crossing in from that side. So all in all, yeah, really better second half. And actually, and that's the front going forward. But actually, even Dino, I thought, had the times they did have a couple of chances. Dino had a lot better game on Saturday, I thought. And defence, I mean, obviously, Ben was at fault for the error, but whenever he's back in the team, you do just feel a little bit more comfort that he's there, and the defence will be more solid. And obviously, he's coming back from injury a bit, but he's definitely getting there, isn't he? And so, all in all, yeah, if we could have stuck it in the back of the net, I think it would have been finished a really good second half.
Yeah, well, if we stuck it in the back of the net and it hadn't been offside, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the one with Dean's ball, brilliant ball out to Dion? What a great knock that was. Jesus.
Yeah,
really good. Gave us real opportunity there, but yeah, unfortunately didn't get the chance to take it.
Yeah, it was nice that we had one. It was nice that we had one good movement from Dino, because I like Dino, but some of those shots were it was a bit more AFL like rather than football. Some of them did seem to be very drifty.
Yeah. I mean, as mentioned, we did. I missed it because I was in the loo, but we had one offside goal, and then Rob hit an absolute peach of a volley, which was disallowed because of some foul. I do think it was disallowed before he hit it, and I think the keeper probably just didn't move for it, but it did look very, very spectacular.
Came in off the
Chris, how
post,
did
didn't
you?
it?
Yeah, it looked like a very nice birthday present. But Chris, how were you kind of second half overall?
Getting nervous, I think, overall. But yeah, I mean, I certainly felt that we had a bit more threat about us. And yeah, and we also, I was feeling less worried when they were attacking us than I had been for quite some time. And then, of course, they score. But yeah, I do have a bit more confidence in the defense. It's just we just need to get some more goals from somewhere, and hopefully we'll do a bit of business in the transfer window to help with that. But you know,
well, we'll stick with you for a second for the goal because the other two guys have hinted at who they're blaming for it. But my thing all season, I've been saying we seem to struggle to create half chances, puff and puff, and then we give the opposition a half chance and they score.
Yeah,
that's exactly what seemed to happen. Is they had a bit of a half chance, bit of a lash, and it's got in, marvelous. How come we never ever do that? But how are you sort of feeling? Talk us through the goal that they scored.
I think I was discussing something with their kit man at the time, but so I didn't have an uninterrupted view. Let's put it that way. But but it was just, yeah, it just felt like a melee from what I could see from my general angle, and I just yeah, it was sickening. That's not really a detailed analysis of it,
but which kit man were you talking to?
I can't remember.
Was it Clive?
No, it was theirs. It was theirs. I was being.
Oh, it was theirs. Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, because also as well, Newport's manager is an Argyle great, who I was also kind of like just stealing myself to kind of like have a sneaky selfie with post match. So I was, yeah.
Really sorry, sir. You do need to come this way.
Yes, pretty much. Yes.
I have a lanyard. I have a high vis. You must do what I say.
Yes.
So, Chalmers, what was your kind of thoughts on the goal? I know you mentioned that maybe Josh should have done more for it.
Yeah, more to think about it. I'm not getting confused with a different situation though. Well, he gave away a free kick, didn't he? On the edge of the box where they nearly scored. So I might be getting myself a bit confused. It's been a long day, to be honest with you.
I hope you're not asking me to try and remind you or correct you because you've got no chance. It was 2 days ago.
I remember the goal. No, I remember that. I do kind of remember the goal. And that they sort of broke quick, didn't they? And I know, the ball come in and it ended up going out wide, didn't it, to the left? And I watched it back actually this afternoon, and Kizzy got pulled in a little bit as well, didn't he? So it gave this fella a bit of space on his left, and yeah, there wasn't a lot I think Dean could have really done about it, from what I recall. And frustrating, yeah. That was the overriding emotion, was just frustration that we'd had so many chances ourselves and not taking it. Yeah.
Paul, yourself, you felt maybe, I think you said Ben could have.
Yeah, I think.
Let's be clear. We are attacking. We are trying to win the game.
Yeah.
We're going to leave spaces. We're not actually pointing and saying this is your fault. But
not
Ben's fault.
No. Well, and I think we're all. I'm talking for all of us, but absolute fans of him. It's and what he's done for the club and the way he's played and put the shifts in. But yeah, I think he got under it a little bit, didn't he? But anyway, I mean, they still had to knock the ball down the line and across and onto that guy's left foot, and it was a cracking finish. He had a good view of it from the curver. It was going in, wasn't it? It was old bit. So best. I mean, I don't know I don't even know. Did they do stats on XGs for League Two? But I can imagine the XGs of some of the teams around us and ours. There's a bit of a gulf between it, I think, in terms of chances created and finishing.
Sorry, I've been coughing all thing, and I forgot to get myself a drink, so I've just been provided with it.
I thought I'd stunned you by talking about XGs, mate.
Yeah. this is the life. So we then were pushing, and we had a couple of corners, a couple of chances, and then up steps the 36-year-old at the time. And he crossed it in. And I'm going to say, right, I know I have outlandish claims that I claim things that have got nothing to do with me, but Tope's goal has everything to do with me. Okay, a few weeks ago, I saw some things from Amari on Instagram where they're all taking the nick out of him in the training ground because he keeps having 2 cups of tea, and it's because they're the little cups. I have a little chat, and he goes, "I love my tea." So I went out and I've got Tope a Sutton podcast mug that says Tope's mug on it, and I gave it to him a couple of weeks ago. Since then, he's started twice and he scored 1. It's definitely the Magic Cup. He's confirmed it to me in a message saying it's the Magic Cup.
Played in 3 different positions as well.
Exactly. But Chalmers, you had the same kind of view as me, Paul. You're a little bit further away from us. Some people are saying that the keeper got the ball, but I think Tope got there just before him. I mean, Newport fans are saying basically he dropped the ball. And I'm like, no, I think Tope, he was going into, he was waiting for it to come. And then Tope just nipped in ahead of it. So what did you think, Chalmers? How were you at the goal?
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, it looked like from some of the pictures, from Paul's pictures, that he was getting pulled back a little bit as well. And he's sort of stuck a toe out almost, hasn't he? Really, he's got in there, and from what I could see, he's beat him to the ball. So that's the sort of thing you want. We've got to take these chances. The ball sort of it was a bit floaty, wasn't it? So it wasn't sort of buzzed in or anything. So I don't know if the keeper got a little bit was a little bit caught out by the fact it was a bit floaty and it sort of held up a little bit. And yeah, fair play at Tope and getting in there, and first goal for us, I think, as well, isn't it? So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's not this season. Yeah, no, my bad. No, I'm thinking of something else. Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
My thoughts. I was just staring at the assistant, just waiting for a flag to go up. Like, it was basically, that was because it just felt like one of those days. I was just delighted, and also Toby's such a lovely guy as well, so I just really chuffed for him.
I always enjoy talking to him. He literally lives down the road, so I keep seeing him when I'm walking the dog as well. Seeing him he's back to shopping for his mum. Right, I'll let Sean know your strength training. Don't you worry. Paul, you had a little slightly different advantage point from us on the cover, a little bit further away, so you might have had a different angle on it. But what did you think of it, Paul?
Yeah, I did have a little bit of a different, but same came to the same view as you guys. I thought it was a floaty ball in. I don't think the keeper did drop it, and I think he poked a toe at it, and it went. So yeah, which was nice. Although I don't know, I mean, obviously it was great. We got a goal, but it did feel a bit disappointing after you've slept on it a little bit. You know, there's obviously a bigger gap now between those top teams and those lower teams. We know who we're starting to battle with, and there's a big gulf. We're not going to get much from those top teams, and so those Newport coming to town, not playing well, us having the better of them. 1-1, well, we'll take a point with being 1-0 down with not much to go, but really, yeah, came away with a little bit disappointed. But the positivity, just definitely a better second half and stuff to work with. And I think what is that? That's in the form table, we're not too bad, are we?
I did ask the question. I thought, is that a point gained or was it a couple lost?
Yeah.
From what you're saying, I think you're kind of saying that the playoffs are gone for us now. We're not going to get there.
Mike, you put it down on so many things, actually.
I know, I'm so positive normally. But you kind of led on to a couple of the comments we had. So there's kind of been mixed emotions on it. There has been a little bit, though, of cautious optimism. I see creeping into some kind of posts and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, this is different from a few weeks ago. So, I mean, what do you guys feel on that? I know, Paul, you've already touched on the mixed emotions, but how are you feeling about the cautious optimism that we're starting to pick up a few points?
I think it's that whole thing, isn't it, that it needs to be 2 teams worse than us, and that ain't many. So, and it does feel as though we're playing better. We are picking up some points, and we have got. And there's some key games with those bottom 8, isn't there, coming up in February and March certainly, and certainly at home. And we've just got to pick up some 3 points against them, and then we'll get closer to that 40, whatever it's going to be, 45 points or so. But cautious optimism, more to do with the fact that there's some teams sliding down that table, and there might be 2 worse than us, rather than our sudden electrifying performances. But yeah, I'll go with cautious optimism. Go on, Mike. I'll have it.
Yeah. Come on, the Swindon points deductions. Anyway, Charles, what was it? Sort of mixed emotions for you as well. Did you feel it was a point gained, couple lost, and how do you feel about the optimism that seems to be growing some shoots?
So was that me? Sorry, you broke up a little bit there. I'm somewhere. I'm a little bit on the fence, I think, with it. I'm a pessimist at the best of times, but yeah, definitely need to get a few 3 points on the in the bag, don't we? We're performances have massively improved, haven't they? Mansfield obviously were just outclassed us a bit, but the other 3 games, even when we're down 10 men against Gillingham, we were in the game, weren't we? Yeah, I do have a hint of optimism, but there's definitely a long way to go. I'm not. Yeah, I'm on the fence still. I'm on the fence.
No worries. And Chris, yourself, the sort of mixed emotions.
Yeah, it's mixed emotions. I mean, so in September, I was starting to prepare myself for relegation, given that I am that much of a pessimist. And I normally have kind of like advice from my mum, sort of like, oh, you always get worried at this time of year and it'll be fine. And I kind of, I do like to think that we've turned a bit of a corner, but the thing is, so I can't. I mean, obviously Matt has gone, but I can't really sort of like say, other than that, it's down to we've brought this thing in and it's all working. Whether it's just a kind of like a back against the wall spirit. But I mean, the great thing is, I mean, like scoring goals in the 90th minute, that shows a team that's absolutely determined. Because I know there have been some people that have been questioning, do they want to wear the shirt and stuff like that? I mean, there are certainly, you've got people out there who are fighting for the club, and that is good to see, because I was terrified that we'd be going down with a whimper. And at the moment, I still think we're more likely to not to go down, sorry to say. And I'm certainly, I feel safe to make plans for May Bank holiday. Rather than, I don't think there's any danger of Wembley. But yeah, I just, yeah. It's the hope that kills you, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember who I said this to, but we're kind of in the position we are, but we know we're playing badly.
Yeah.
It's not like we're saying this team are rubbish. We're coming away going, they're just playing badly. So that gives that little bit of hope of, well, once they get over this playing shit, we might actually get some points. So
but I mean, I do wonder.
Other clubs like Rochdale gone, do you know what? It doesn't matter what team we put out. It doesn't matter what happens because they're down.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I do wonder how the fans might react as and when we get a new manager in that isn't Jason. Because I know there are some people that have been getting sort of like I was hearing some people getting excited about the possibility of Neil Warnock. That seems a bit far-fetched. But I think it's more likely to be doing a caretaker role at somewhere else that we might talk about later. I think, yeah. I mean, I think we're more likely to hang on to Jason, however reluctant he might be to take it on. But and that's not any insider knowledge. It's just based on what I have seen on forums.
I will admit, when I was joking around causing a bit of mischief a few weeks ago, saying, "Oh well, Alan Pardew lives nearby," I thought that's the most ridiculous comment anyone's ever going to make on it. But no, some people have gone way, way, way out there with their suggestions of who we get. Well, it won't be Lenny Lawrence, who I didn't even know Lenny Lawrence was still around, I'll be honest, but he's just taken over at Hartlepool as a caretaker role. It's like, really? But one thing I've just started doing the last couple of weeks, hopefully I'm going to stick with it, player ratings. So I put out a little tweet afterwards with the link to the player ratings and ask everyone to mark it 1 out of 10. And wow, people have been brutal. So, for example, the game just gone, Omari has got 4.4 out of 10.
That many?
I make it a very painstaking point out. I don't even vote in this, so it's got nothing to do with me other than collated. I think a couple of weeks ago, someone got less than 3, but hopefully people will start doing it, and you'll get a nice little average of scores. But that's why I'm doing it. I'm just kind of seeing these player ratings to see if I do it next season fully. So it should be good. Right, we have done to death the game. We will talk about the next game. And for the next game, we have a Plymouth fan joining us, and it is Chris. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hi. Yes, this is weird.
So, go on then, Chris. Talk us through it. You've been supporting Sutton and Plymouth, but Plymouth first, but Sutton always little second club. They'll never play each other.
Yeah, it's all a bit of a mess. So I was born in Sutton. My dad was an Argyle fan. And so shall I do the thing again?
Go on, go for it.
Yeah. So this is there we go. That's my dad's rattle from the 50s. That shall not be coming down with me to Plymouth because I suspect that Home Park won't welcome it back in. And so I spent my teenage years in Plymouth. And sometimes you might hear it in my accent. And yeah, so my first footballing love was Plymouth Argyle, and then we've kind of like moved back to Sutton, and we'd always kept an eye on Sutton's results, and then over the years, various friends and relatives have joked to sort of say, who would you support if ever it happened, like El Crisico, I knew that I was going to go in the Sutton end wherever it was. I'm kind of glad I'm not on duty, that it's not a it's not a home game, but and also Sutton are playing Argyle. If I say we, it's going to get complicated, so I'll use names. But Sutton are playing Argyle at a strange time in Argyle's history because Schumacher left, and the manager went up to Stoke, taking a large amount of his backroom staff with him. And so they've been sort of managed by Neil Duneship, I think once of Liverpool, but he's emphasising this is a caretakery thing, and they're also Argyle are very much trying to get a manager in place for the weekend, for the big Horton derby, but I see that Gus Poyet has ruled himself out.
All right.
Yes. So that's a shame. But Neil Warnock is apparently popping in and providing kind of like transfer advice. Warnock was in charge when the Argyle went up to Wembley, and and established a 100% record of played one, won one that lasted until Argyle played the Wombles in a playoff final, of which we shall not speak. But yeah, I also see that Finn Azaz has seemingly been recalled by Aston Villa, which is going
Guy who
to
done
be
that peach of a volley, wasn't it?
yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
Great.
so I think I do think that there's possibility of an away win on Saturday. I'll certainly be cheering for an away win on Saturday. But yeah,
isn't there talk of the striker being bought by Luton as well, so he could possibly not play also?
Yeah. There's
Whittaker.
yes, Morgan Whittaker. Yeah, that's would be a shame. But I mean, certainly it'd be a shame because like Argyle also are very much sort of like keeping one eye on the trapdoor, because like Argyle didn't expect to get promoted last season. It's come slightly ahead of schedule. I mean, obviously, being helped a bit by Sheffield Wednesday, who seems to have kind of like bagged one of the relegation spots for themselves quite nicely. But and also Birmingham City are helping. But we'll see. I do wonder whether a slightly weaker team might be fielded than you would normally expect. But also let's put it this way: my Plymouth-based friends have not been harassing me for kind of like advice as to like how they could possibly beat us. But anyway,
well, you've mentioned Wembley, and I'll get your props out.
But okay,
we've got 100%. We've got 100% record at Wembley. 100% loss rate, but it's still 100%.
Yes,
always spin the positive. But you've got some flags.
I do have some flags. So I have my Sutton United Wembley flag. Okay, and the following year I acquired a Plymouth Argyle flag, and so I have maintained. So I was at every Papa John's final, and I was supporting the team that lost on both occasions. But at least
100% record at Wembley.
Yes, 100% record at Wembley. But I mean, I had a far better time with Sutton because at least we were not kind of like expecting to win, and we weren't 4-0 down. So that was the only match of the Steve Schumacher era that I saw in person. So,
what's your sort of outside of your Josh Widdicombe story? What's your favourite memory supporting Plymouth?
What, of me being mistaken for Josh Widdicombe at Crawley? Yeah. I think it was probably at Wembley. I went along with my dad and my uncle. And it was just this lovely memory, and so it was these things. I remember when Ian Baird was involved with Sutton, I came up to him and I just thanked him for taking us to Wembley, because it was just this beautiful memory. I mean, he didn't play, and we got rid of him, I think, immediately afterwards. But I think that's up there. Another favourite Argyle memory of mine was actually something that happened in Poland. Me and a group of school friends, we were. It was August. We were on a stag do for a wedding that went awry and a marriage that went even worse subsequently. But we were so delighted that I think at that stage we were fourth in the championship and the way that results were going. And we just broke out in this kind of gleeful giggles in this taxi going into the depths of Warsaw. And also the quarterfinal against Watford in the FA Cup as well. It was another special moment. Just even though I was at home watching on the telly, but Argyle tend to, if they go on an epic run, they tend to play Watford and lose to them. They lost them in the quarterfinals in the noughties, and they lost them in the semi-finals in the 80s. Something that I still have on video downstairs. I don't have a VCR, but I still have the tape. Inherited it from my dad.
Can do that. I don't have a thing with them, but Snappy Snaps and Sutton can do that.
Yeah, I know, but also as well, like YouTube can also provide it. But yeah, and my dad has a memorial brick at Home Park, so which I'll probably kind of like go past and say hello to. And it's directly beneath Kevin Keegan's brick. I assume not that one. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've yet to hear of his Plymouth heritage, but yeah. One thing that I will say though is there's a fantastic statue that has been put up. I will just go and grab. Oh, can I see my other prop? I'll go grab my other prop. So there's a statue of Jack Leslie, who was he was a player of colour, who was from kind of like roughly around the West Ham general area of London. He was playing for Argyle in what was the second division in the 20s. He scored 137 goals for us. And England then sort of said, "Oh, we'd like you to come and have a go." And then they realised that he was a person of colour. Yes.
Yeah.
So they said, "No, sorry."
Did a terrible mistake.
Yes. Yeah. Whoops. And so over the course of the pandemic, there was a sort of a fan sort of effort to fundraise a statue, which I paid a very small donation to, and which is how come I have this lovely picture. And it's I think it's a wonderful story, and it's great that because like Argyle fans get a lot of grief. We don't have a great reputation, but it was lovely to see that that kind of like wonderful gesture, and his grandchildren were there to see the statue being unveiled, and I just thought that was a lovely, wonderful thing. So if you're going down, you'll see it at the front of the ground near the car park. So yeah, and
his family got presented with a cap, didn't they? At the
yes,
England-Ukraine game.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because when you were saying the name, I was like, I know that name. Why do I know that name?
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Right. To get back on track.
Yes.
Charles,
Sorry.
What do we need to do? That's all right. What do we need to do to win the game?
We have had some good performances against some good sides, haven't we? We raise our game. You look at how we played against Wickham in the League Cup as well. Have we got a chance? I'd give us a 1 in 5 chance, maybe. So a lot's got to go our way. As Chris said, they could go a bit weaker. I'm a pessimist, so I've on your prediction thing, I've predicted a defeat. But I think it could be close. If we get a draw, I think I'll be happy with a draw. Bring them back to Gander Green Lane. Certainly got a chance.
Excellent. Mr. Darby, what do you think? What do we need to do to win the game?
Do we want to win the game? I hate people who belittle the FA Cup, but no, hate's a strong word, isn't it? But I'm a big fan of the FA Cup with everyone, but I see this as just adding to our fixture congestion, to be honest. And I wouldn't, not too bothered about the game, not too bothered about us getting through. I think there's something about a good performance. I mean, we don't want to roll over, do we? And but going at them and putting them under pressure and more injuries or cards or what, I just see this game as as something that's happening over there that we don't need to really focus on, really. But I hope everyone enjoys the day. That would be that's my honest view. And as I say, I don't belittle the FA Cup if I can help it. But on this occasion, I'll tell you what, we'll give it to them.
Right. There's one point you didn't raise, which I will come on to in a minute because I've got it down there. But Chris, what does Sutton need to do to win the game? I mean, you're wondering, would it be a weakened side or what?
Yeah, I think there's got to be a bit of hope that it's a weakened side. Also, as well, I get the feeling that ticket sales are not particularly high, so we won't be up. So, like the Green Army can be very helpful as an extra man, but also sometimes if it's empty, it can be a bit of a difficult place for them. So we'll see. I mean, I think as Paul C said, things have got to go our way. But I do suspect possibly the weakened side might kind of help. So if we go in with like a firm plan we stick to and just patience, then I mean we could possibly sneak it. If we do sneak it, I'll have some relatives that will have some questions for me afterwards.
Oh man.
Right. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I reckon we're going to get a penalty. We don't get penalties. We're going to get a penalty rather than give one away. We'll probably miss it.
Yeah. You'll have all our players looking at each other going, now what? What's supposed to happen now?
Yeah.
Right. So Chris has said something that may have spoiled my next joke, but I was going to name this as a caretaker-io. Neither team has a manager. But he's saying there might be a manager in place.
Yeah.
And Paul, this derby has said something about do we want to win the game? And I do think there's a possible question there because if we win the game and we get through to the fourth round, we are rather limited on who we can let go because any new players coming in may be cup tied, and we would need to have a squad of players. So even if we drew one of the big clubs, we would need to have a squad of players to put out. So does that cause us an issue with saying, well, actually, we now can't let that player go because we need him for the cup match? Or do we not care and just say, right, so we'll play the kids, we don't care what happens, we'll take the 400 grand at Man United or whatever it is.
Well, how many championship sides are going to want to get some, or even League One sides are necessarily going to be wanting to buy some of our players? I don't think our players being cup tied would be an issue. Or have I misunderstood?
If a new manager wants to have a clear out of players,
yes,
wants to get rid of 5 or 6 players,
and
bring 5 or 6 in,
yes.
If we get through to the next round, and we've lost 6 players who registered, and we've got 6 players who can't register, we will suddenly struggle to put out a squad of players.
True, but but also we're probably going to be getting new players in from other League 2 and League 1 sides that are already out.
Yeah, but if the players are cup tied.
Yeah, but anyway. I don't think it was as much of a problem as you think it is, but
yeah. I don't know.
I can't see us winning the FA Cup, to be honest with you, Mike. So,
I don't want to draw against Chelsea and get absolutely battered like 14-0 because we've got no players to put out.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want us to win. But I mean, Chalmers, you've already given your prediction of a loss. Paul, what did you have? You got a prediction?
I do. He says, thinking of one right now. I can see us getting a bit of a drubbing, to be honest. I'm going 3-0.
Okay, cool.
I think it'd be 2-1 to Argyle, but I think maybe Sutton might lead for a giddy minute or 5.
Okay. Well, I've put the link up if anyone wants to join the prediction league. Obviously, Chalmers and Paul, although you've said it, you can still change your mind up until kickoff because you might hear this team news or anything that you want to change your mind. So if you've said it now, or even if you've entered it, you can always re-enter it, and I take the latest score that you put in. But we will wrap it up. We've done spectacularly well there. I didn't think we'll get much out of this, but always appreciate everyone's attention, and it won't go on to my next bit. What's going on? Why is it stuck? Anyway, that link's going to stay up there now. I don't know why. Leave us any feedback, any comments on the socials and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave them the reviews if you like. Thank you to everyone who's been doing the likes on YouTube. It's noticeable that suddenly there's loads of likes. I'm not going to be one of those smash that like button, but it's noticeable. As always, thank you to our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin. Big thank you to today's panel. We've got Paul, Chris, and Paul. And thank you to the listeners. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. We will be back. Oh, it's gone. Look. We will be back on Sunday. At the moment, it's only Dan. So if anyone else does want to come forward, give us a shout, and we'll get you on Sunday as well. But take care, and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
United!